Hey, welcome back to YT Finance, and this is the channel where I went to business school so you didn't need to, and today we are talking about Sofi Technologies SOFI stock, and today we have some great news regarding Sofi Technologies. So we're going to be going over what Sofi Technologies could actually be bringing in for their earnings report, which could dictate where the SOFI stock price goes, because this could either act as a very positive catalyst for the stock, or it can even make the stock price fall lower. Then we're going to talk about their great news surrounding a new partnership with an amazing company that I personally own. So I am very excited about this, and I think it's a huge catalyst for the overall SOFI stock price, and hopefully investors think so as well. Then we're going to move on to talk about more of the macroeconomic factors that are weighing Sofi Technologies down, and how rising interest rates are actually going to increase Sofi Technologies revenues. Lastly, we're going to go over the SOFI stock price targets and price predictions by professionals as well as analysts, and of course I will also add my personal opinion as well. So for more SOFI stock videos, remember to go and smash that like button right now, comment your thoughts down below about this company, subscribe if you are new, and without further ado, let's just jump right into today's stories. So Zacks actually has a revenue estimate for Sofi Technologies coming up in their earnings report, which will go over Q1 financial results. For their revenues, they're set to bring in around $281.94 million, which is very good. So if we could see the company actually bringing in more money than this revenue projection, this could cause a catalyst and upward momentum for the SOFI stock price. And the reason why they are bringing in such impressive revenues for Q1 is due to increased strength across all Sofi's businesses, which would include their lending segment, their financial services segment, as well as their technology platform segment, which we will talk more about later in this video regarding the big news. On the other hand, Sofi Technologies is set to bring in a loss of around 14 cents per share for their EPS, or earnings per share, which is actually pretty good because in the fourth quarter of 2021, they brought in a loss of 15 cents per share, so this does show an improvement quarter over quarter, and that's something I am very bullish on. However, with that being said, because of the macroeconomic environment and the very bearish tone of the overall market right now, even if we do get an EPS beat and a revenues beat in their upcoming earnings report, the stock price could still continue to fall. However, I personally think that where the stock price is trading at right now is a fantastic deal, because right now, currently the stock price is trading at around $6.44, but we're going to talk about more of their price targets and price predictions later in this particular video. So with that being said, overall, it looks like Sofi Technologies is going to bring in very impressive revenues and earnings per share. However, we do have a recent catalyst concerning the great news regarding Sofi Technologies and a partnership that they have recently entered into. So despite the SOFI stock price dropping by around 55% year to date, the stock still looks primed for future growth. Again, like we said, the reason for the decline for growth stocks in general, specifically financial, fintech, and technology stocks, is because of the risk-off environment. And this means that investors are liquidating their risky growth stocks because they don't know what the current stock market environment is going to do, because it could continuously trend downward. The main fears come from increasing interest rates so the Federal Reserve can get the inflation under control for the overall economy. But we did see a positive development here, because the Federal Reserve does not anticipate that they are going to take into consideration a 75 basis point hike for the interest rates that are currently on the market right now, which is really good news. So this should actually calm some investors' minds. However, now that we know why investors are liquidating their stocks, specifically their growth stocks, let's talk about the big catalyst for Sofi Technologies. So if you didn't know, Sofi Technologies is a financial technology company that offers an all-in-one digital inclusive app that gives their customers anything that they could possibly need in terms of financial services and or financial products. They are so good, in fact, that Mastercard, which is a phenomenal blue chip company, actually announced that they will be partnering with Sofi Technologies to take consideration to use their Galileo platform to further accelerate and digitalize their transformation as they further penetrate the Latin American market. So this is going to be a win-win for both Mastercard as well as Sofi Technologies. Technologies, which is why I'm surprised analysts as well as investors are not more happy about this amazing partnership. This is absolutely huge. I also really like the dynamic between Sofi Technologies as well as Mastercard because they are both getting advantages from partnering with each other, which is absolutely fantastic. This is why I personally am extremely bullish on Sofi Technologies because I have a long-term position in this particular stock. However, I am not overexposed to this stock. Right now, this company only makes up around 4% of my overall portfolio. If in the future this catalyst actually makes the SOFI stock price increase in price, because of the current stock market environment, we could actually see that those gains are going to be relatively short-lived until the market gets under control. Right now, the overall market is very negative and bearish, and it doesn't really matter what news comes out about Sofi Technologies, the stock is going to continue to trend downward until the overall broader market gets under control. But with that being said, in the medium term, I think Sofi Technologies is going to do fantastic because they are set to become a profitable company in 2024, and I'm also banking on this stock's long-term price appreciation, which is why I plan to hold this company for at least 10 years in the future. But with that being said, always make sure to do your own research. I also want to point out that the rising interest rates are actually going to be somewhat good for financial companies in general, specifically fintech companies like Sofi Technologies. So we're going to go over why one analyst actually thinks this, and many other analysts actually echo his exact thesis. So although we went over Sofi Technologies' earnings that they're going to bring in for quarter one, which again is going to be around $281.94 million worth of revenue and a 15-cent loss for their EPS, for the entire year, Sofi Technologies is anticipated to bring in around $1.47 billion and a loss of around 47 cents per share for the entire year. However, this analyst goes on to say that SoFi is complicated and it's impossible that the company will actually report numbers better than either it or the other analysts have predicted. And basically what he's saying is that this company is anticipated to come in literally on the dot of around $1.482 billion in total for the end of the year. But why is that? Why isn't Sofi Technologies being further impacted by rising interest rates? Well, let's take a look here. Sofi Technologies generates some of their revenues from what's called gains on loan sales, also known as GOS. And because of this, Sofi Technologies could actually lose up to $177 million of GOS revenue because of increasing interest rates. However, despite this, they have actually hedged their position against interest rate hikes, and this is how they are doing it. The interest rate hikes are going to take away some of their customers in one of their business segments. However, if we look at their banking segment, this is actually going to be positive news because despite Sofi Technologies losing or maybe not growing as fast because of the increase in interest rates, for their banking business, this interest rate increase is actually going to have loans produce more money over the long term. So as interest rates actually increase, it's actually bettering Sofi Technologies' overall revenue on their banking side. Because right now, their income is supposed to be around $70 million for this particular segment. However, we could see an increase of around $115 million to offset some of the losses that we could experience from the $177 million loss. However, this $177 million loss is literally a worst case scenario that the Federal Reserve will increase their interest rates 10 times by a quarter point each hike. So literally, this worst case scenario, we can literally forget about that. That's not even going to happen. However, these rising interest rates, regardless, will increase their banking side and the revenues that they are getting from banking. So overall, the rising interest rates aren't a big threat to Sofi Technologies, according to this particular analyst. So the fears of this are actually way overblown, which is why this particular analyst has a price target of around $14 for the SOFI stock, which is Sofi Technologies' ticker symbol. Right now, the current stock, like we said earlier, is trading at around $6.44. However, the average analyst price target is $14.41, which would imply around 123% upside if we buy the company right now. With that being said, even if we look at the most bearish and negative price target, which is $10, we still see upside potential from the stock's current price. Likewise, if we go to the most bullish price target, we see fantastic upside potential of the stock literally tripling in value. Currently, around 7 analysts have buy ratings for this company, and 5 of the analysts say to hold this company. But until the overall economic environment starts to settle down and the stock market becomes less bearish, we might not see SoFi Technologies increase in price anytime soon, and it could continue to downtrend. So hopefully their earnings report could act as a catalyst to increase the overall SoFi stock price. But even if it does that, it's going to be short-lived until the macroeconomic environment becomes under control. But I would love to hear what your thoughts are about SoFi Technologies and the overall SoFi stock price. So remember to go and smash that like button right now for more videos like this one. Subscribe if you are new, and I will see you in the next YT video.